Welcome to another devlog. This time I want to try something different. Instead of showing changes over a whole month, I want to focus on just a single day from start to finish. For anyone that's new, I'm making a game about forging a medieval community with intelligent AI villagers. In this devlog, I will start on the city building mechanic and also show you what the life of an indie dev looks like in between that work. My game goal for today is to create a way for the player to contribute material to a building in order to complete it, and all the stuff in between. So let's see how far down this list we can get. Although I create the base model in Blender, I like to add the features of the building in Unity to make it easier to dynamically manipulate them and reuse their logic. Alright, so this is what it looks like in game. Neat. Next, I'm going to create separate assets for different stages in the construction process so that a player can see their progress visually. And also write some simple code to test that. Oh, by the way, I'm using the Odin inspector to show bugs in the editor. Works surprisingly as expected. I'm now done with the assets and it's 1:12 PM, so time for lunch. I'm currently making my way through designing games by Tynan Sylvester, aka the guy that made Rimworld. Coincidentally, I'm actually on the chapter about interfaces. Diverse redundancy is communicating the same information multiple times in different ways, is the most interesting quote I came across today. But is one coffee truly enough? For a midday development break, I like to sometimes head to a cafe to either do some game design or research. Today, I'll do some research. So I start by categorizing and prioritizing the bookmarks I've picked up over the week. However, I've noticed this takes a lot of time and decided to try changing things up a little. Instead of sorting into one big list of bookmarks, I'll first categorize a bookmark and then only sort in that category subset. Basically, it'd be faster. Okay, so the next most interesting resource I've decided to read is a Reddit thread on a very successful VR game Postmortem. After reading it and making some notes, here's my summary of what drove the success if you're interested. One of the key points was that it was built on top of a very feature-rich and complete asset, which some said could have been a game by itself. Having made the assets, the next step is to create the interface to handle material contribution. This will basically involve drawing the UI, making the building interactable, handling the transfer of material, and updating the building visuals. To create a somewhat realistic place to contribute, I thought a little work area with storage, a stockpile, and instructions would fit nicely. And to open the UI, I want to make the sign interactable. Good start, but those don't look like great instructions. Much better. I would usually stop at this point since I've been working for about 7.5 hours, but YOLO. You may have noticed previously that there are little flag requirements. That means there's no icons for those items. So to fix that, I've just selected which models to use to represent wooden beams, straw, and sacks of mud. The last big chunk of work was transferring the materials from your inventory to the building. And I just want to add one last detail before I finish the day. Fairly happy with the overall progress today. Made assets, interesting research, designed the UI, and wrote a lot of code. The only one last item on the menu I didn't complete was the celebration event, so I'll work on that on another day. Speaking of, in the future I would also like to allow villagers to contribute to the building to create that sense of community and cooperation. Allow the player to choose the place of the building with a cool shader probably, and make the UI much more satisfying in iterating on the overall art style. But for now, it's time to go to sleep, so good night. If you like the idea of this game, you can now wishlist it on Steam. And if you want to follow for weekly updates, I regularly post on Reddit and Instagram. That's it. Thanks for watching.